All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining today's virtual meeting. And today we'll be discussing drones in lacrosse. And my name is Colin Caffrey, president of Angelhawk. And I'm joined with Michael Butchkowski, vice president of ops. And today we'll be discussing a little bit about the aerial videography service that Angelhawk can provide to your lacrosse team, and some of the considerations, safety, education-wise, some of the rates and things of that nature. So the presentation will last about 30 minutes. And in such, feel free to write in the comments box any questions that you have as we go. There will be an opportunity towards the end to ask questions as well. And we would just ask that you mute your microphone upon joining. So moving along, touching on the agenda, today we'll cover drones in lacrosse video. That's about a 1.5-minute long video that will show exactly what the actual angle of film looks like and some of the capabilities that we have. We'll get into personal introductions, myself and Michael, and then we'll talk a little bit about the company and who we are. We'll discuss FAA requirements and legalities and compliance. We'll touch on the TSA drone policy and what some of the parameters are and considerations there. We'll also touch on the safety and training programs that we as a company have. And at the end, we'll discuss our offering and rates, and we'll conclude with questions at the end. So moving along, we'll get into this video here. Then it's about a 1.5 minutes, and we'll get into introductions after that.
We on live.
All right, hopefully that gave you some insight into a little bit more about us and what we do and capabilities, and able to see some visuals on how the film actually looks. This video will be posted on YouTube as well as our website, angelhawkuas.com. So feel free to check it out there and send along to any coaches, athletic directors, or anyone interested in knowing a little bit more about us. All right, moving along. Personal introduction for myself, and then we'll transition over to Michael and the company. So again, my name is Colin Caffrey, president of Angelhawk, and a little bit on the education side and background. I have a background in aviation management from MSU Denver. I've worked in the private aviation sector for over 10 years and worked from fueling and towing aircraft to operations and scheduling, up to sales. And I've worked through Broomfield Jefferson County Airport to Centennial Airport. And in 2017, when the FAA came out with the new drone regulations that made it more accessible to get your commercial drone license, saw that as an opportunity to start a business, and have always liked entrepreneurship and business, and wanted to just kind of get my foot in the door with the opportunity that came about in 2017. So obtained my Part 107 drone commercial pilot license, started the company, and since then have logged over 300 hours. Started off in the search and rescue space, and just kind of open to all different forms of drone usage, including done some building inspections and commercial marketing, and some government contracts like with the Postal Service, and really found a viable, great opportunity in the athletic realm for football initially, and then have moved into other sports like lacrosse and soccer. And the value add is great. We're currently the only ones offering this on a scalable size in the Colorado, Denver area. But drones make for a great time up on mountain peaks. That bottom right picture is I like to climb 14ers in my free time, so I'm trying to log them all, and have done 48 out of the 54 currently. So the goal is to do some more. You can't bring a drone up on all of them, but some of them you can. So it makes for a fun picture to get from the summit of a 14er. And the bottom left is in the Dominican Republic for a mission trip we did with a youth orphanage there. So the kids were loving chasing the drone around the yard. So that was a lot of fun. But that's my personal introduction, and then we'll get into Michael's and the company. So Michael, all yours.
Okay, thanks, Colin. Good afternoon, everyone. Michael Butchkowski. I'm proud to state that I retired from the U.S. Army, served 23 years, bouncing around the world, 8 years overseas, and it's kind of nice to live in one area. Been in Denver for about 3 years now. That's how Colin and I met. I was down at Metro State University taking some aviation management courses. We met through a mutual friend over a cup of coffee about 1.5 years ago. So I joined Angelhawk then, and helping out with operations ever since. My love for aviation started back in 2013. I got my private pilot's license down in Colorado Springs. It's a hobby that costs a lot, so I don't fly as much anymore. But my UAS hours, my drone hours are increasing more now. And then the reason I have the little Green Bay Packer thing, I own one share of the Green Bay Packers, so I like to say that I'm an NFL owner, except when we lost a couple weeks ago. But no, so that's a little bit about my background, and we could go on to the next one. Angelhawks background. As Colin stated, he founded the company back in 2017. We're based out of Denver, but we've been flying missions really around the state of Colorado. And all those practices and games, no accidents, no incidents. And really that's attributed to a strong and effective safety program. We also value training. All of our pilots, they have to be licensed with the FAA, and that involves a quite lengthy process to get your drone license. But then we take that a step further, and we do training as a company on the fields, and making sure that all of our pilots are well trained. And then I think Colin mentioned too, insurance we cover, or we carry a $1 million liability insurance coverage for all of our events. Now, FAA, there's a lot of rules, a lot of regulations that our pilots follow. I don't want to get into each of them, but I'll just highlight a few of them. If you look at the icon on the left, second icon on the left column, that one states that if you're flying drones near an airport, you need to follow some strict guidelines, and in that the FAA wants to make sure that you're always safe. But if you're close to an airport, or if you're flying drones at night, you need to have a waiver that the FAA has recognized that you are taking additional safety steps. Angelhawk, we've applied for and have been granted 8 waivers to fly near airports, like in the Denver area. We may have some stadiums near Broomfield Airport or Centennial Airport that we need to have a waiver. And then also for football, a lot of those games occur at night. So we have waivers in Denver area and then down in Colorado Springs. And to date, we have 8 of them that have been approved. So we're working closely with the FAA. They know what we're doing, and we're following all their guidelines. And then, of course, all of our pilots, they follow when they're flying. They're following all those other regulations for flying near objects, not flying over people. But that's kind of an overall summary of FAA regulations. And for TSA, the biggest thing with TSA is if you're flying at a home school, you need the home school's written permission. So XYZ high school, we need to get XYZ's written permission to fly there. And then that's for any regular season games, whether it's football, lacrosse, soccer, whatever it is. If you get into the playoffs, then it's TSA's authorization to fly for a playoff contest. That's the biggest thing. This past year, Angelhawk and all of our pilots, we were very familiar with all the TSA safety guidelines and rules that we needed to follow before football games. Of course, wearing masks, you're only could get into the stadium a certain time before the game. After the game, everyone leaves. So our pilots were following those TSA rules, and we're very familiar with those. So we're also working with TSA to make sure that if there's any updates with the FAA, that we can update TSA's policy with drones. So we're going to kind of collaborate with them on that. I'll turn it back over to you, Colin, for safety standards.
All right, perfect. And with you as lacrosse coaches and as a team out there, one of the things that might come into consideration as you're working with athletic directors and risk management to gain approval for our service, they may ask a little bit about what our safety standards look like, because nobody wants to have the risk of something bad happening with spectators. And although with COVID, we don't have as many spectators, but with any coaches or players or anything like that. So we take safety very, it's very important for us to maintain high standards of safety, and we take it seriously to maintain that. So with that, there's a few things that we have in our program, such as our training in our ground school, which is done in a classroom setting and an outdoor setting. We do have a pilot practical exam where we go out to the field and we ensure that there is initially the pilots do have the practical knowledge and understanding to safely control the UAS drone, as well as after they've been hired on as a pilot contractor. We do take them through our checklist and our company standards, and we do have background checks with all of our pilots, so we know who we're letting in the door and ensure that they are going to be properly trained and upstanding and ready to go. So there's a few things as far as safety that we'll touch on a little later, as far as some of the equipment that we use and things of that nature.
And Colin, I was just going to add,
Yep.
we're working closely with the Jeffco risk assessment manager. So when we got the authorization to fly for the Jeffco School District, the risk assessment manager was involved in that process. It's about education and informing. So that was just a comment with risk assessment.
Perfect. Yeah, if there's any conversations with athletic directors or risk management that need to happen, we're fully able, and we've done that with several school districts and schools. So happy to have those conversations as they come up. So a few frequently asked questions we can touch on. We do have a more in-depth FAQ that we can send out if you'd like that. But a few of the things is the noise of the drone distracting. It used to be with older models, but with the picture, the drone that's depicted there, which is a Mavic 2 Zoom, it is really quiet and out on the field during a game with any level of crowd noise. And if it's at nighttime, it's hard to even see it or hear it at all. Hard to know that it's even there unless you're looking for it. Is the drone equipment safe and reliable? Highly safe and highly reliable. As we touched on earlier, we haven't had any accidents or incidents. Have used these particular model of drones in all kinds of different elements and conditions and high winds and different varying aspects. And this equipment does have a lot of safety standards built into it, like one of which being if a propeller goes out, the other 3 motors will compensate and keep it airborne until it safely lands. Haven't had that happen, but it is on board. It does have GPS tracking, so if any signal is lost, it will automatically land at a predetermined location if there were any signal loss. So that's just to touch on a few of the safety components that are built into the system itself. And the drone pilot and the drone, as far as where they'll be located on the field, we do set up in one of the like end zone areas behind the goal. And for lacrosse specifically, we do stay on one side of the field, and we don't overfly players, but we do overfly the field when the players are in the opposing backfield. So if they're going away from us, we'll fly the drone out past the goal a little bit to get a better angle and view, and then we'll fly backwards. So the pilot and the drone will be located on one side of the field, and you can find them wearing a red Angelhawks safety vest, like you see in the bottom right corner there. So can both teams have access to the footage? Yes. We do upload the footage to a computer software program. Some schools like to use a program called Huddle. There's a few other types of services out there like Score Break that some teams have used. So whichever platform that your teams might be accustomed to, we can upload the footage to that for review. And then if both teams are contracted with us, or if you're at an away school and they say, you know, we would prefer you not to use a drone. One of the things we've offered is we said, well, we'll share the footage with you if you give us permission to use the drone for an away game. And 9 times out of 10, they're okay with that, and we can share the footage with the other team. So those are a few of the frequently asked questions. We do have the ability to HDMI out the feed from the drone to any streaming system. So if there is any school out there that does have a streaming capability, there's some third-party companies that do offer that, like SportsScope, Huddle Sideline. We do have the ability to tap into that and give you a live feed from the drone to the sideline. So we are working on the ability to offer that service in-house, but until we get that up and running, there are a few third-party companies that we can integrate our drone with. So touching on just what it is that we offer to your lacrosse team as we look into the 2021 season here, and then we'll touch on rates here next. But what the package includes for our offering to your team is you would have a FAA rated drone pilot that would be present at any of the practices or games that you're scheduled with. and we have the full equipment available to you, which would be our Mavic 2 Zoom, and we have plenty of battery power to sustain 3+ hours of flight time. So no worries on us, even on cold days when battery power gets depleted. We have plenty of battery power to get us through a game. And on that note, we do have about 25 minutes of battery power. So we do change out. It takes roughly about 60 seconds to do a change out, and then we're back up and running to get the footage. So like I mentioned earlier, we do have the capability to live stream the footage from our controller. So that functionality is there. Like I mentioned, we can upload to a third-party software online to get the footage after the game. And our standard for that is to upload footage within 2 hours of the end of the event is when we initiate our upload online. So you will have that footage timely, and it is high quality footage, 1080p resolution. So it looks really great. And FAA compliance, we look at this as a top priority because we don't want to go out of business, of course. So anything that we have to abide with the FAA and any of their changing regulations, we do stay posted up on that. All pilots are FAA certified, and we do have all the waivers and permissions that we need to safely and stay within regulations with. So guaranteed film. One of the stipulations with flying the drones is that we cannot fly in any inclement weather if there's excessive winds that reach above about 30 to 40 miles per hour, which is quite a lot. But we haven't had that situation where we've needed to land due to high winds. Even at some of the windier locations, we've still been able to maintain our drone. But if it does, and it's up to the pilot to determine this, if it does cause a safety risk, we will have to land. And if it's snowing or raining at all, any precipitation, we can't fly. But as a backup, we do, just to make sure that you are guaranteed with film, we do have the ability to continue our filming from the ground so that you're not left empty-handed without any film. So that is a service that we offer and a guarantee with film. So nothing in the chat box there, Michael?
We're clean. We're clean right now.
Okay. Yeah, again, just to reiterate, if there are any questions, feel free to throw them up in the chat as we go along. We'll have some time at the end that we can run through that as well, if there are any questions. Covering our rates. So these are our retail rates, and we understand that with COVID, there are some issues with being able to fundraise effectively, and we want to be considerate of that and be realistic for what it is that is you have the capability to do this year, especially because things have gotten so complicated on the fundraising end of things. So these are our retail rates, but we are offering a discount, which I'll show you on the next slide. So just so you know that the kind of the breakdown of how this looks is this is a 2-year agreement, and we have an initial drone fee with a 15-game package if we were to have 15 games, which I know this year we're looking at closer to 10 due to COVID. And then you've got your drone fee per year, and then you've got your cost per day. And the far right-hand side is the total cost. In the second block would be if you were to add practices. So the first is the game package only. The second is the game and practice package, which would be 1 to 3 days a week, depending on your preference. You can choose. But moving on to our offering with this year and cutting prices and making it more realistic with the lack of fundraising. We know that 10 games is what CHASA is allowing for this year. So we did cut that in the 10 games, we are requiring the 15 game minimum price. So, and we are cutting our drone fee in half to $1,500, and that brings down, that's a total of $3,000 discount for the game package, and anywhere from right around $3,000 as well for the game and practice package for this year. So this discount is available for the first 4 teams to sign up, and we have a deadline that I'll get to on the next page as to when this would need to be initiated in order to receive this price. And if you notice too, on the practice package, we do offer an additional incentive to add practices to your agreement, and we do lower the cost per day from 200 to 180. In that's an incentive there if you'd like to add some practices. The teams that have done that, they tend to value almost the practice footage more than the game film, because that's when wins are made during the practices. So, and as far as the agreement goes, we do have we'll touch on the dates, but we do set up deposits to be made 60 days before the season start, and all additional days beyond what's listed here. If you make it to the playoffs, they are billed at the daily rate that you are set up for. So say, for example, if you sign up for the 10 game package and you make it into the playoffs, so you have an 11th or 12th game, that's billed at your daily rate of 200. So that's the breakdown for that. And we do have incentives for discounts if there's multiple schools that come on board within a school district. We did set that up with like Jeffco football, for example, had multiple schools in one school year come on. So we were able to compile that and offer additional incentives. And if there's anything along those lines that you might be interested with your athletic director or your district, let us know and we can talk about that offline. So just to kind of wrap things up, as far as we'll touch on dates, next key dates to keep in mind, but just want to wrap things up as far as our service to you as a lacrosse team, is that our goal is to go beyond offering just aerial film to your team. But our real goal and what we think our value really is just providing hassle-free film altogether, and it just eliminates your worry and stress of dealing with film as a whole. So that includes things like equipment management and setup and training personnel and the quality control to make sure that the film looks good as you would like it, and all of the FAA compliance and safety, and streaming is one of the initiatives that we're working on to offer as a company. We can live stream to you. So that's to come. We're hoping in 2022 is when we're planning to roll that out. So, but yeah, like I say, we really think the value goes beyond just a really great aerial perspective, but it's that you just don't have to worry about film at all. We take that off of your plate.
Hey, Colin, just one question from Tom. Tom asked, do you have to pay for years 1 and 2 up front?
No, good question. Thanks for asking, Tom. So year 1 would be, I'll go back to that slide. So year 1 would be just paid for up front. And then year 2, we would have that paid for 60 days prior to the next season. So 2022 is when we would look at 60 days prior to season start for that year. So just year 1 as it pertains to right now. Okay, so key dates that we're looking at moving forward, provided that we're looking at the first practices. We've got, let's see, April is what we're set up for first practices in games. So season deposits for our service would be due on March 16th, 2021. And as far as the discounted rates that we offered, like I mentioned, I'm going to go back to these rates. These are available for the first 4 teams to sign up, and that is available until February 17th. So 1 week from the date of this presentation, the 10th, February 17th, first 4 teams get the discounted rates, which is about $3,000 off for year 1. And to sign up or inquire about any questions, my email address, and that's my cell phone there. Feel free to reach out, and we can get you added to the list there. And that concludes what we have for the presentation for today. Thank you for everyone's time. And yeah, we're grateful for the opportunity to get to work with the teams. And we really believe that your team will be able to find value in upping your film quality and recruiting film and practice review and game review will go up exponentially. So we're excited for the opportunity to get to offer that to your teams, and we think you'll really enjoy it. So if there are any questions, now is a good time to unmute microphones and or enter anything into the chat there.